Philadelphia 76ers. This is a very interesting team coming into the season because, first of all, they haven't made it past the second round in a very long time. I'm now realizing in my last video I didn't mention their record last year, but the Philadelphia 76ers last year were 52-30, third in the East. Joel Embiid won MVP. They had an overall good season, but then in the playoffs, I mean, they started decent. They swept the Nets, and then they had tied at 2-2 with the Celtics. And then Joel Embiid and Harden sold, and they lost in 7. They had a 3-2 lead, and they honestly had a really good opportunity to make it past the Celtics, and then they didn't. So, and then there's the whole James Harden drama. James Harden oh my goodness, there's so much with that whole situation. I talked about it in a video that I released like 2 months ago. If I want to, I might put the card in this. Is it in this corner or in this corner? I don't know. In one of the corners. But anyways, this team needs some. No, it doesn't. Honestly, this team is amazing. I have no problems with this team. I had this team winning the championship last year, or even making the finals. At the very least, making the finals. I thought the finals was going to be Nuggets versus Philly, and well, it didn't end up that way. I mean, the Nuggets made it and won a championship, but Philly, yeah. So, looking at this team, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid. I honestly like the offseason changes that they made. I mean, James Harden, that whole thing's been going on for the past few months, and he still is on the Philadelphia 76ers, but I keep hearing reports, oh, the Clippers aren't giving this up, James Harden's not showing up to practice, James Harden's not doing this, James Harden's not doing that, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, what's gonna happen? The season starts in less than a week. Something's gotta happen. Is he gonna play? Is he not gonna? Like, we don't know. So, hopefully he gets traded. But I don't know where he's gonna get traded because he only wants to play in for the Clippers for some reason. And I don't think the Clippers got the assets to get him. And even if he does go to the Clippers, is that the best fit? Because you already got Kawhi, you already got PG, you already got Russ, you already got a bunch of guys who are going to be handling the ball a lot of the time. And does James Harden really fit into that system? I don't know. But we'll see, I guess. That's all I'm talking about with James Harden. We're past James Harden now. The rest of the team. First of all, I guess Joel Embiid. He was an MVP last year, and then they went into the playoffs and choked. And now people are like, he didn't deserve the MVP. They should have given it to Jokic. And I made another whole video about this. I'm realizing I talk about the Sixers actually a lot on this channel. Joel Embiid deserved his MVP. I made a whole video about that. If you want to watch it, it's in one of these corners. Joel Embiid deserved his MVP, man. He really deserved it. He cooked. He had an amazing season. Jokic was amazing and he deserved an MVP as well, but Embiid deserved it more because of what he did in the season, not in the playoffs. It's a regular season award. So I kind of feel bad for Joel Embiid, even though he is an enemy of the Raptors at this point because the Raptors been facing against them a few times in the past few years, and we won one, but then we lost Kawhi, and then we lost one, and you know what I'm saying? But overall, I do think Joel Embiid is an amazing player, and I hope that he does his thing. I mean, there have been some trade rumors with him going to the Knicks or some other teams, and I'm like, I honestly think he should stay in Philly, but because I think they can make this work. They have the pieces. They have Tyrese Maxey, they have Embiid, and then they have whatever they get back for James Harden. Already there, that's a good team. And Tobias Harris, I didn't even mention him, PJ Tucker. They got some guys in this team, man. This team can definitely be a contending team if the Stars turn it up in the playoffs. So maybe if you wanted to trade James Harden, you'd have to trade him for a playoff performer. You have to trade him for a guy who you know will come up in clutch moments. And if they can get that, then, I mean, that ring, that conference finals is looking kind of nice. Maybe they can make it past the second round if they get a guy who can show up in the playoffs. But you also have Tyrese Maxey here, and Tyrese Maxey is a guy who I'm actually pretty high on because with the James Harden drama going on, this team, whether James Harden plays or not, this team is going to need a spark. And I think Tyrese Maxey can bring that, man. I think Tyrese Maxey, I've seen him grow over the past few years, and I think he could legit be an all-star this year. If this team does really well and Tyrese Maxey has a good year, of course Joel Embiid's going to be a guaranteed all-star unless he gets injured, but then I could legit see Tyrese Maxey being that second star on that team. Because he can shoot a bit. If he can get his shot creation down a bit better, then I say that's good. But Tyrese Maxey, I could legit see him making an impact for this team and being an all-star. And I see a jump coming from him because if I had to name one of the players who has a jump this year to all-star status, Tyrese Maxey is one of those guys. I mean, it's not like he was especially not like. Because when you look at guys who have jumps, you look at Lauri Markkanen, he was just a role player, and then next year he was an all-star. Tyrese Maxey isn't a role player. He's definitely a really good young player who's like in that tier between good player and all-star. But I think he could jump from here to here. You feel me? So that's where I am with Tyrese Maxey. And then the rest of this team, they signed Patrick Beverley, they signed Kelly Oubre, they signed Mo Bamba. And those are honestly three really good signings. Patrick Beverley, as much as the memes have been going on with him, or not really going on recently, but he's been a very interesting player over the past few years. And Patrick Beverley, man, he does bring some stuff to this team. He brings defense. He brings a bit of leadership because he's a guy who can really motivate your players, as we saw him do with the Timberwolves 2 years ago. And if that's all these guys need in the playoffs, like, because he can, as funny as he is, he can actually come up in big moments. If Patrick Beverley is the thing that it's the extra spark that this team needs to make it farther in the playoffs, I'm all for it, man. That would be hilarious. But yeah, Patrick Beverley is a pretty good signing for this team. You also have DeAnthony Melton, who I'm now realizing I didn't mention before. He's a really, really good signing for this team. He could be a good scorer off the bench. You have Kelly Oubre, another good scorer off the bench. He averaged 20 last season, I think, which is something that a lot of guys actually, like, I don't think many people knew that. Kelly Oubre averaged 20 a game. So if he can just do what he needs to do, I mean, I don't think he's going to average 20 because of all the scores on his team, but if he can just do what he needs to do, get some buckets every once in a while, that's a W. You got Paul Reed, who was already on this team, who was doing good. And Mo Bamba, all you really need to do from him, be a center, play defense, get rebounds, get a quick lob or something every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? And overall, this team is actually has pretty good depth because you look at from the starting lineup all the way down to the third string rotation, the third strings, I guess you want to call them. This team is pretty deep. And they are kind of old with some of their players like Patrick Beverley, Danny Green, Montrezl Harrell being up there in age, James Harden being up there in age, but they do have a good amount of young players. So I like what's happening. I like what this team got going on overall. The only question is, what's going to happen with James Harden? We'll see what happens with that. But aside from him, this team's looking pretty decent going into the season. I don't think they're going to be a top team in the East. I mean, they definitely can be a top team in the East, but I don't think they will be. You never know, though. Maybe they can prove me wrong. But yeah, I like it. I like it, man. You can't underestimate Joel Embiid because at the end of the day, Joel Embiid's a top, maybe even top 10 guaranteed, but maybe even borderline top 5 player in the league right now. And he was the MVP. So when you have a guy like Joel Embiid on your team, I mean, you're gonna be good regardless. So we'll see what happens this year, man. This team is looking good, and I'm excited to see how they play, especially Tyrese Maxey because he's nice. But yeah, That's all I have to say. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Comment down below any tips, tricks, or topics you have me talk about on this channel. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.